Hey, fellowship, it is just so good to be back on the farm, to be back in the land of Israel. I feel like I'm just receiving more and more light, more and more strength. We're getting back into a routine here. And, I'm preparing for the new year. And I've been thinking over and over again, just our last session, about setting our goals and then really thinking about our life in the categories that we want to make for ourselves this upcoming year. And I was thinking, what is the next step? And just a beautiful spice cart falls into my life. And her name is Tehila Gimpel. And she tells me this amazing story. In 1911 and 1912, the great race to the South Pole happened. Two teams, one from Britain and one from Norway, went out to be the first humans to conquer the South Pole and be the first people to reach the bottom of the planet. And one team made it, the Norwegians. They were first. And one team on the whole trek, the British, sadly perished on the way. But we have their journals and we have all of their writings because they were found. And in perfect timing, this Torah portion we're reading, Ki titzeh lemilchama al oivecha, when you go out to war against your enemy. Now, obviously, that's not only talking about external enemies like the Taliban in Afghanistan. That's also talking about our internal enemies, the challenges and the obstacles that we have in our own life. And here we have this amazing story that just fell on my lap that I wanted to share with you. Why did one team succeed and one team fail? They had two totally different strategies of how to win the war, how to go out and achieve what their mission was. So the British team, they went out and they brought horses. And when the weather was good, they trekked far. And when the weather was bad, they hunkered down. And they moved and they went and they got and they up and down, just no consistency. When it was good, they went. When it was bad, they stopped. The Norwegian team, they went out with dogs and they went out with a totally different strategy. Their strategy was every day they're going to move 15 kilometers. Now, what's amazing is that I've been researching this story, and Tehila is the one that really brought this idea to light, because most of the stories that I've read of don't even talk about this strategy. But to me, the strategy is the greatest lesson of this story. Every day the Norwegians went 15 kilometers. When the weather was good, 15 kilometers. 15 kilometers, that's not so much for a day. They could have gone much more. But they said, no, 15 kilometers, we're going to set up camp, we're going to rest, we're going to rejuvenate. Next day, 15 kilometers. When the weather's good, they have 15 kilometers. When the weather's bad, 15 kilometers. Just consistently moving forward, slowly, at a good pace. And by the time they reached the South Pole and they came all the way back, they said it really wasn't even that hard for them. Where the British team, they went on a crash diet and they went as fast as they could when the weather was good. And when the weather was bad, they hunkered down and they didn't move at all. There was no consistency. There was no routine. And on the way back, they perished. And what a lesson for us right now, because all of us are in this process of really trying to start the new year with a powerful trajectory, to really set our sights on Zion. And when we do that, we get a tziyun, we get a grade. How close are we to our ultimate good that we could really be in the world? How could our marriage be? How could our children be? How could our lives be? How can our health be? And, once you set a mark, then you have a grade of where you're standing with that mark. So the natural tendency is to go on a crash diet, to learn 15 pages a day of Gemara, to go and set impossible goals that, maybe you could achieve for a month, but then you're going to fall out and the mission will not be accomplished. But here we have the amazing wisdom of the Torah. Et hakeves ha'echad ta'aseh baboker, et hakeves ha'sheni ta'aseh ben ha'arbaim. The first lamb, bring it in the morning. And the second lamb, bring it in the evening. You don't need to bring 1,000 rams like King David bringing the Ark of the Covenant to Jerusalem. No, that's for a major celebration. But every day, consistency. One lamb in the morning, one lamb in the evening. It's not too big, it's not too much, but it's one step forward, one step closer. How do we set up that mark of where we're trying to achieve? How do we go out to war? Because it's a war, it's a battle. We have to really get strong to make sure that we're disciplined. If we want to get up early in the morning, we got to put on that alarm clock and wake ourselves up. If we want to start exercising, put those earphones in and go out on a walk or go out on a jog. It's a little bit of a work because our spirit has to overcome, has to lenatzeach, has to win the battle over our body. And how do we do that? 15 kilometers a day, slowly, consistently. Every day, a little bit more. Every day, a little bit more. When it's easy and you feel inspired, 15 kilometers. When it's not easy and you're not inspired, 15 kilometers. When the sun is shining, 15 kilometers. When it's raining a little bit, 15 kilometers. That's the way the Norwegians made it all the way to the South Pole, and they made it all the way back. And they said in their journals that they didn't even feel like it was such a big challenge. The journal, though, of the British team, the crash diets and the extreme running and going and stopping and no consistency, it was impossible. They perished on the way, so sad. But that is a lesson for us. The temple service is a physical manifestation of an internal teaching, an internal process. And it's dramatizing on the outside what's supposed to be happening on the inside. And how do we develop a rich inner world? How do we get it strong? How do we build the temple structure on the outside in order for God's presence to dwell on the inside? One lamb in the morning, one lamb in the evening. Slowly but consistently, just taking a few steps forward in the right direction, on the path, as we're keeping the halacha, as we're walking in the light towards our Zion. That's the way to do it. Don't get overwhelmed. Don't try to crash diet. Don't try to read 3 books a week. No, just slowly choose a book, read a little bit every day. Slowly but surely become stronger and stronger. And that is the way. How do we go out to war against our enemies? One lamb at a time. And so you should all be blessed. I'm really looking forward to next week, because next week we're going to open up a whole new map, a new way of seeing ourselves, a new way of working on our inner worlds, and that'll be a wonderful process right before the new year. So thank you all very much, and I thank you for all of the blessings and welcome me back to the land. It's funny because when I'm outside of Israel, I miss Israel. And now that I'm back in Israel, I miss seeing all of you that I saw outside of Israel. So it's like, I guess I'm just going to be in a constant state of yearning, of arugot, of la'arog. I'm constantly yearning to be close to those that I love. So I love the land. I want to be back in the land. I love the fellowship outside of the land. I want to be close to them. One day, we're going to bring it all together. The fellowship and the land, all together in the mountains of Judea. That's my Zion. That's the dream. So slowly but surely we'll be working on that as well. All right, shalom. I hope you enjoyed that highlight from the Land of Israel Fellowship. For more information about the fellowship and how to get access to all the archives of all of the teachings of the fellowship, just go to thelandofisrael.com/fellowship or click on the link below. Thanks.